verse that God put there for us. Mothers, fathers, everybody. It's a very important verse, and sometimes we don't emphasize it very much. It says, God, He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart, yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to the end. The verse, first of all, states our limitation. Our limitation is we always see where we are. We are not Pharisees, but the truth is, we just see as far as we can see. That's not like God. God can see the beginning to the end. He knows how many more years you have. But He teaches us to learn how to live every day as if it was the last, and every day as if it's the first. That means, as parents, as spouses, we must of necessity be people who will not make an assumption that we are going to be there to see grandchildren, or we are going to be there for our grandchildren to become adults. We may not even be there to see our children finish high school. And if that happens, it doesn't mean God hates us. It just means He knows that our children can actually survive without us. I lost my father pretty young, and here I am. The Lord has kept me. The Lord has led me. The Lord helped my mother with the high school fees. So it means we need to live as fathers with the understanding that the future is in God's hand. I repeat, we cannot fathom what God has done from beginning to the end. And that is the limitation that we need to be aware of. So as you deal with your strategic plan as a person, don't always make an assumption that you are going to be there always. What does that mean? It means you write your will when you are only 32 and you say, but what for? I'm going to live to 100. But you are going to live to 100, but you live to 100 with every day as if it was the last, and every day as if it was the first. It means that if God called you, your family can run without you because you prepared them. Your wife can run without you because she knows what is where and when. That's really what we are talking about tonight. That if you have eternity in mind, then you are aware only God has no limitation. But some of you have never discussed with your spouse the possibility that you could be not there. The possibility that she could be not there. And what will happen? You still have your small secret. You still have your money for the rainy day, which is the money that is adding up with unclaimed, what is it called? Unclaimed financial assets authority, which was set up to be enjoying the money for people who do not share with your spouses all that they own and have. Obviously, that's not our topic tonight, but it's an indication that you don't have a Christian marriage when you don't live with that view, that you have left yourself with that understanding. And you say with Paul, for me to live is Christ, to die is gain. Which I choose, I don't know. Because for me to live is Christ, but if I was to die, I would gain rest with God. The other thing that he emphasizes is that none of us, created by God, does not have the feeling that is life beyond the grave. He has put eternity in the hearts of men. Unfortunately, our 10 minutes go very quickly. Let me just go through what I think lessons I drew from that verse, that he has put eternity in the hearts of men. And that even if you die, he has made everything beautiful in his time. So even if you died at any age, it will still be beautiful because it is God who has made everything beautiful in his time. Number one, if you truly have eternity in your heart and you live with that view, number one, your priority will be to make it to heaven with or without your spouse. In other words, your spouse backsliding cannot stop you going on with the Lord. Because you have put eternity, and it is so important. It is not as important. It is more important than your spouse. That when we became friends with Rebecca, that's what we agreed. That going to heaven is more important than us getting married. So if she could see I'm backsliding, she was free to drop me and continue with the Lord. Like Paul says, follow me only as I follow Christ. And if you truly have eternity in mind, your spouse will know that you don't love her as much as you love God and his heaven. Is that what your life is? Going to heaven so important that you cannot be pulled back by your wife or by your children or by the things of this world? Because it is your priority. Number two, that once God has given you a spouse and children, your responsibility, your most important responsibility, will be to pastor them, both the spouse and the children, to heaven. Nothing else matters. Feeding them, buying them cars is a secondary importance. The responsibility is that you would not go to heaven without your family. You are the pastor of your spouse. Of course, she has other pastors. She may even call them spiritual dads. But the most important spiritual person in a woman's life is her husband. That's why we tell girls, don't marry a non-Christian. Because then a non-Christian will become your pastor. Because your spouse is your pastor. And we could spend time going through the scriptures to establish that. But if you have eternity in mind, the thing you desire for your children and for your spouse is that would go to heaven. I like giving an example of a boy getting saved and comes home from boarding and tells the parents, I've gotten saved. And they're excited. But then after that, there is no mention of it throughout the holidays. Another holiday, they come home and say, Papa was number one. Wow, they are so excited again. But all the uncles who visited during that holiday, they are told, hey, your father was number one because he's named after their father. So they are all told about excitement, how the son was number one. He starts to understand. To my father, getting saved is good, but becoming number one is better. You cannot have eternity in mind if your children believe that bringing prizes home is so important to you, it cannot compare with their getting saved. And they know whether it is important, but how you talk about it, how excited and for how long. Number three, if eternity is in your mind, your priorities are set on how they affect your heaven journey. We are making decisions. There always is, how will this decision affect my journey to heaven? And anything that can interfere, even a business, even whatever, that will bring money. If it might make me join a group that could make me not go to heaven, I would rather continue with the poverty than actually make that kind of decision. Somebody says a good name is to be preferred to wealth. Is that true? If making money is so critical that that's what matters to you, then you don't have eternity in mind. And I'm not suggesting that we should be poor. We should do our best to earn money. My final one, and my time is up. If you really have eternity in mind, then you will say, what you leave in your children, the word is in, your children, will be more important than what you leave for them. So you spend your time wondering, what am I going to leave in them? What have I made? How have I influenced their values? Because if I achieve that, and then when I'm dying, there is nothing they can inherit, they will still make it in life. However, if I leave nothing in them, even if I leave them billions, within 2, 3, 4, 5 years, they will clear it. If you have eternity in mind, then what you leave in them, plus eternity in them, will matter to you more. My time is up. Back to Gavin.